All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. Glad to be with you this morning. I did not have a morning note yesterday. Unfortunately, I was called in for jury duty selection. The good news, I wasn't selected. So, what I was told is that at least from 1 year from now, I will not be called again for jury duty. My God. Either way, I missed a lot of the fireworks. Unfortunately, those courthouses don't have the best signal, unfortunately. So I missed a lot of this action yesterday. We had a nice, it seemed like a capitulation day. But let's take a look at futures and see where we go from here. Dow futures are up 55 points, NASDAQ up 59, S&P 500 up 0.23% this morning. The Russell's up 0.17%, 1744. Yes, my IWM calls got absolutely smoked, unfortunately. Back to the 10-year Treasury yields, 4.746, getting a little bit of reprieve in yields. That's, as you could tell with stocks, when yields go up in that kind of velocity, we saw that stocks get affected, as we know. Dollar this morning, 106.59, taking a little bit of step back this morning on the dollar. Volatility index, the VIX, 1957. That's down about 1% this morning. Crude oil taking a step back. Even though we have OPEC speaking, crude is down 1.82%, 87.60. Just remember, what was it? A couple of days ago, we'll say the end of September, September 30th or September 28th or so. I'm looking at the chart right now. 95.03 was the peak in oil, at least at this moment. 87.55 currently on crude oil. I've been talking about that retest of 85. I think one of the futures members is also short crude oil. That 85 retest level is what I'm looking at. Let's go and take a look at it. The only issue I have is that 10:30 we're going to have crude oil inventories. So again, the last time I shorted crude, if you guys remember, we talked about it, was right around here. Right here, looking for that double top on an overbought reading, excuse me. It was set up for a pullback, but we didn't get it. We got continuation due to the Saudi headlines of production cuts. Got the spike up here, now we're pulling back. So if we bring up the daily chart, we can see now we're below the 20-day. Remember what we talked about, the 20-day moving average being that momentum indicator. I still think 85 does come. I want to see if we can get inventories out of the way, maybe these OPEC meetings out of the way, so we don't have any kind of headline risk. But that is my target around the 85 level. That's around $2.44 from where we currently are. Below the 20, you got a falling RSI at least, but no low indication readings as of yet. The lowest we've had was on the 23rd of August. So that's going to be our target. The 50 days at 84.92, I expect weakness in crude just for the fact that we were just technically overbought than anything else. But the question is, what headlines could affect it? That's why I don't want to take a position on it at this moment. How about gasoline? I know that's something that everyone's been speaking about, but gasoline has absolutely tanked really since August. We are now at basically 5-month lows on gasoline futures. But crude oil has been taking a lot more of the headlines, as we know. So look how oversold we are on gasoline futures. We haven't been this oversold since May. Let's see if that support holds right around $2.30. If not, we're looking at a possible retest of December's low of $2.03 right as we get into the seasonally weaker driving season, winter time, fall time. It's not as high in demand as summertime. So I do expect oil prices to pull back. I do expect gasoline prices to pull back from these levels where they were overbought, at least on the crude side. Let's take a look at gold. Now, gold is interesting. You're probably saying to yourself, how is gold down? Isn't gold supposed to be safe? Well, remember, gold is priced into dollars, but if you price gold versus euros, it's probably doing a lot better. If it's priced against yen, it's probably doing a lot better. It's just right now, the dollar is absolutely on fire. So that's going to hurt gold. Regardless of the risk tolerance in the market, it is beholden to the currency it's being priced in, gold. So we sliced below 1900. We're at 1842 now. We are at the most oversold condition on gold now since last July 2022. That gets us back to levels not seen here of around 1690. You are below the 200-day. We talked about how the 200-day nothing good happens below that. So You're probably looking at a 1798 target if dollar continues to go higher. But again, look at how oversold we are on the gold. We're probably going to get some kind of snapback bounce. It's just inevitable through the technicals. Could we get more oversold? Could you get more overbought? Absolutely. We saw that with gold. We saw that with dollar. We saw that with yields. We're going to go through that next. Very macro focused right now, but do not be surprised that you get some kind of bounce here on gold. And even with this idea of risk, safe, risk off asset like gold, you would think as yesterday we had that fall in the market, gold would catch a bid. It didn't, because the dollar was so strong, and it was actually flexing its muscles yesterday as we got to the peak of 107.34 just a couple days ago. Let's see. Silver futures are up 0.13%. Copper's down 0.48%, even with the dollar being down. Euro dollar 105.20. That's up 53 pips. Again, the dollar pulling back 148.90. Now this I saw as well. How about this move in the dollar yen? Did the Japanese actually have any kind of intervention? 150 was that level the BOJ was talking about. This is important because could this be the first step of any kind of central bank intervention? Fed intervened during the bank crisis. BOJ is intervening with the yen being so soft. So very tough to trade that because these central banks have a lot more money than you or I do. So we would be trading against the money printer itself. Not the best route to go. Let's see what dollar yen does. But I think it's best just to observe it and not put any money at risk, especially when you have a whole central bank kind of going against you. If you were going long dollar yen, which it looks like it should be going long, it's a great chart for more upside. But again, that intervention could happen at any time, guys, so you got to be careful. Pound dollar, 121.67. That's up 89 pips. Bitcoin is up 1% this morning, 27,675. 1646 on Ethereum. I don't know what happened to my mouse. See if I can get this going. Did my mouse just die? All right, bear with me a second, guys. Let me see if I can get this mouse hooked up. All right. Apologies here. Let me see if I can get this mouse charged. I did not charge it. The worst thing about these mice is that you have to charge them. So let's see if I can charge it rather quickly. It is a micro USB. My apologies. Let's answer some questions while I charge this thing for about 2 minutes. Okay, good morning. See, SPY levels to the downside to 420. I'm going to go and take a look right now. My apologies. I am charging my wireless mouse. I should have charged it overnight. I'm really bad at charging those things. Let me go and see the other question here. Conrad said, held on to SPY calls overnight. Should you think I should sell at the open, or do you think there will be more continuation to the upside? That's where we're going to take a look now here in about a couple of seconds while I wait for this mouse to charge. We should be good now. Okay, so I am charging it as we speak. It is wireless, so I'm kind of using it in a weird angle. My apologies. So let's go and take a look at SPY together, and then we're going to go ahead and dive a little bit into yields and see what else is moving here. So let's take a look at SPY. We are getting a bounce this morning around 422.73. I talked about this on Discord with stock S&P futures. Let's see it together. So here's the chart on S&P 500 futures that I posted this morning. You can take a look at the RSI relative strength indicator at the bottom. This indicates overbought or oversold conditions. And again, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but again, gives some context of where we have been and where possibly we may be going. As you can see, that trend line, the green one, that diagonal one up, that was broken. That was the trend line from October to March to now. So that has broken. I want you to keep that in mind, guys. Why? So you can see right there, you see that break? You see that red line right here? That's your 200-day. Let's go and take a look rather quickly. Okay, so you see this candle right here, right there? That could be a reversal in trend candle. Why do I say that? The last time we broke a level of support with that kind of daily candle, right? A shooting star candle or whatever you want to call it, hammer candle, hammer, whatever. Right there, that breakdown, that's when we got the reversal for the snapback. And if you guys remember very, very carefully, we talked about a possible head and shoulders, right? Then we got that pop all the way to 45.45. And again, this was just mid-August. The sentiment really didn't change, nothing in terms of economically speaking or any kind of Fed change. It was just a technical snapback. So you can see we bounced after that reversal candle, got as high as 44.85, retested that support, 43.75, and then continued higher. And then we got the rollover. But the reason I say that is because those kind of candles could be an indication, now that we have such rock bottom in terms of sentiment, extreme fear, yields are getting away, dollars getting high, even gold's being sold off. All stocks out there were taking a hit. So it was kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater sort of thing, kind of a capitulation moment, right? Very similar to October. I broke it down here. RSI, the daily lowest level since October of 2022. That was the bottom. It tested but never broke the 200 DMA as of yet. If this daily candle closes the way it is, it's similar to that support break daily candle from 43.48 on August 8th. We rebounded to 45.50 on a head and shoulders pattern that was invalidated. 43.09. Now this is the question I want to answer. 43.09. That's the level I'm looking for. That's your 61.8 fib. Now if we get there, and again, not too far off, we're about 30 handles away. That's where I expect us to go on some technical bounce today. That's really it. There's no news that other than the labor market, the private payrolls, which is kind of disconnected from the NFP number that we get on Friday. ADP is private. NFP is government jobs as well. That's totality non-farm payroll. Remember, that's Friday at 8:30. Those numbers do not always coincide. The ADP number came out and stocks bounced. Why? Because if you have a softening labor market, that means that's less inflationary. That's a really good sign. So again, at least for the macro, 89,000 jobs added versus 153 jobs added in terms of expectations. This is the lowest that we've had since Jan 2022. No, a little time back, a little way back now. It's about 18 months. So stocks are cheering this. Let's go to SPY. We talked about our levels. Let's take a look at the 61.8. Your level that you're looking for is 429. We're now at 422. 429 gets you back to that 61.8 fib, very similar to the S&P 500 futures. Now the question is the fork in the road scenario. Is that a place where we reject? Let's look at the candles. You have these kind of daily candles. Remember from the bottom where we broke out, S&P 500 futures candle was a little better. But again, once you get that reversal, you can always retest support. So again, at least for today, I expect a bounce in the market on SPY. The question is in regards to Conrad saying he's held on to SPY calls overnight at the open. The question is, when is the expiry? Is it for this week? And question number two, can you afford to hold out for at least a couple of hours? Because this could get bid or this could get sold off rather quickly, and we'd know really within the first hour or so. Right around 9:30 to 10, we start getting those kind of orders flowing in from overseas, and then 10 to 10:30 to 11 is kind of where we start getting some kind of direction. Now reversals happen, as we know, but those 10 o'clock to around 11 o'clock in the morning, that 1 hour after that first 30 minutes, let's just say this, the first 90 minutes of the trading session really gives us a hint of where things might be going if we didn't have any news ahead of time. The only other news that we have ahead of us, is the crude oil inventories report at 10:30. So again, if you can hold out at least till 10:30, then that's fine. Then I think you can hold it. But we are kind of pushing a little bit, but we're kind of wobbling as well. So again, we're only up about 42.73. We had a futures short on S&P yesterday, closed it for about a +9 gain. We knew we would get some kind of relief bounce overnight. We preferred not to even risk it. We would have got stopped out anyways if we'd have moved the stop to break even. So good call on S&P 500 futures. U.S. reserves getting low. Can we take a look at the futures chart? Yeah. Even with the reserves being low, you have crude oil coming down. Again, this is more of an issue of demand. Again, you're going to get these kind of technical resistance levels. Here's the problem with crude oil. Is this a triple top? I don't believe in triple tops or triple bottoms. For the most part, we tend to be knocking on the door again. Technically speaking, I think we get back to 85. And if we do and we hold that support, then we're probably going to get back above 92. But again, as of right now, we're going to start getting into the weaker period in terms of driving and oil demand. Look where we were in September of last year. You could see it right here. We were right around 97. Then October, we got as low as 75 just last year, guys. And look where we were in October of last year, right around 75 as well. So could that be something that we get maybe to the end of the quarter, possibly? But again, we need to see exactly what the OPEC's going to do in terms of production, because that can change at any time and will really kill your trade. How was jury duty? Luckily, I didn't get picked. So I've been in jury duty before in Miami. It is a long process, yes, but this was jury selection pool. They put you in a room, and you're basically just waiting around, twiddling your thumbs when the signal is absolutely crappy. That's just what it is. Well, whatever. Level to add to plug for long term. Let's go to plug. Plug looks pretty bad. And again, this is really based on the fact that interest rates are high and no one's going to want to buy speculative stocks like Plug Power when you can get treasury bonds at 5% or a savings account at 5%, for example, or a CD. So when it comes to Plug and these high betas, unless you have something regarding AI or a weight loss drug, I would assume some kind of those kind of biotechs, EV, we know Rivian has what's happened to Rivian, and names really only EV name that's been killing it has been Tesla. But these even charging companies are going to keep taking a hit, and that's nothing to do really with the company itself. Remember, the stock and the company are two different entities. They're part of the same deal, we know, but again, they still behave different ways. So the stock for Plug may be terrible because of the sentiment and the market conditions, but for all we know, the company's probably doing well. Again, well, they're not even profitable, at least on EPS. So I don't see, I can't say there's not a bottom here. I don't think they go to zero, but I'd have to take a look at their earnings report for the next one and see where they're going to guide in terms of Plug Power. And again, it's really just the lack of investment in these small caps, lack of investment in these aggressive startups because they need cheap capital. And right now, capital is expensive due to high interest rates. So these high betas that wash out is part of the process, part of the Fed cycle, part of the high interest rate cycle. This is what rings out speculation. And as a trader, you kind of have to, navigate through that over time because it just doesn't last forever. That's all. And those really trying times, those really tough trading times really are really masks of possible opportunity, but you have to know what you're looking for, and it's not easy to do. What is a good website to look for unusual option vol? I do it here, which would be under Scan, Option Hacker on TOS. But another one that I've seen online is Bar Chart. Bar Chart's a pretty good website that you can use. But that's where we are. I know we had SPY levels to the 420 downside. I didn't answer that. My apologies. So SPY to 420. Let's see. Yep, 420 or 419 is right at the 200 day. The question is, do we tag it? What is the real support? Right here, your 50% retrace, that's 414. So what I'm looking at, possibly telegraphed in terms of the S&P, is where we get back to this trend line, and now that previous resistance, that previous support becomes resistance. I would like to see if we tag 425. That's only $2, $3 from where we are now. Now that's going to be a point of where do we go from there. If it rejects, then we definitely got to be short because we got to retest. But if it breaks above, we have a gap to fill, guys, right around 438.23. We have seen this before where sentiment declines and fear hits. It just happened October 18th. We had it in March, we had it in December, and we definitely had it in October. It happens. You have these kind of cycles. Yields are pulling back, the dollar's pulling back. The question is when? You're going to get a bounce in the market. The question is when. And the timing is the key, and it's the hardest thing to do. You're welcome, Jeremy. You're welcome, guys. So again, I'm going to go and wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. My apologies for not being on yesterday. My apologies to the server for me not being on yesterday. I love what I do, guys. I love talking to you guys about the market, answering your questions, and sharing the news and information. It's one of my favorite parts of the day as we work. So again, really want to say appreciate you guys as always. October 15th, 11 days from now, GAR Capital, GAR Capital, will be celebrating its 9th birthday. 9 years in business. I started the company October 15th, 2014. Amazing, amazing. Most small businesses don't last that long. So again, I'm forever grateful, even if it all ended tomorrow, which it won't. I just want to say, really from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for all the support, all the likes, all the shares, all the questions, all the subscriptions. on YouTube, everything. Appreciate you guys as always. It's amazing. It's an honor to talk to you guys. And the fact that you guys even want to listen to me is an absolute honor in itself. So I'm glad to do it every single day. I'm glad to be with you guys, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Let's make it a great Trading Wednesday. Cheers.